Hello, Peaceful Profits Nation. I'm your host, Chanel Nielsen, here with an exciting client spotlight for you today. So today we are talking to our client, Ashton Levarek. Ashton, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Chanel. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I am excited to talk to you. Your business, you and your brother run a business that has always just seemed so exciting to me. I love what you guys are doing. And I would love for you to start off by telling us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you do it.
Sure. So my name is Ashton Levarek. My brother, Chris Levarek, we both started back in 2018. I was actually in the military. He was an IT engineer, and we were looking for a way to exit our W-2s without contributing so much time to be away from the family, right? So I was in special operations in the military, and I was gone anywhere from, I don't know, 265 plus days a year. So it was a big deal for me. I had two little daughters at the time. I was really focused on leaving the military, but being there for my family. And so we started looking at investing in real estate, and we bought a couple rentals. It worked out. We scaled our business, raised capital from investors, and bought apartment complexes. But in 2021, I think we bought our first Airbnb, and this was probably the second or maybe third. I don't know. When you're building your business, there's a lot of aha moments. But the Airbnb model for us was a huge breakthrough because it's a property that we can use. It creates cash flow every month. It creates tax deductions. It creates, a whole lifestyle, and you can build your lifestyle around Airbnb. So at the moment, we have about 5 Airbnbs that we personally manage that are our personal portfolio. And then we have about 85 or so in our fund that we manage as well. But the cool thing, again, like you get to use it, you get tax deduction from it, you get cash flow every month, and you can manage it in all under an hour a day. And so that was a huge moment for us. And I had all these people reaching out to us. It's like, hey, how are you guys doing this? I see that you're traveling more, you're doing all this stuff with your family. How are you getting the time? And so we decided to build a coaching program for that. And we primarily focus on, W-2 earners that want to exit the rat race and want to spend more time with family, travel, have that kind of freedom. And so that's what the whole focus was. So we still do apartment complexes, but we also coach people on how to get their first, second, third Airbnb and make anywhere from 100 to 150,000 a year doing so.
Yeah, I love it. You guys can see why I say this is an exciting business model, because it's so cool to hear the lifestyle that it is created for your family and then for others that you coach. So you touched on one thing that I'd love for you to explain a little further, which is you said you have 85 Airbnbs in your fund. What is that part of your business?
So let me back up. When we buy an apartment complex, we get a bunch of investors together, and then we buy that specific apartment complex. Well, we use that same model to buy Airbnbs, but on that scale. So we can invest our fund. People invest in the fund, and then we take that capital and we diversify it across multiple Airbnbs. We partner with somebody else to help with the management and acquisition piece. So we're not doing everything, but now people can invest, in multiple assets across multiple markets across the United States. And it's a great model because there's not a lot of funds or not a lot of ways people can invest passively in an asset class that is booming right now. And so that having a fund has allowed us to do that. And then having the knowledge on how to pick the right assets and how to invest and how to pick the right markets and build a team, obviously, is a big piece too. But yeah.
Okay, that is so awesome. So let's jump in then to what was happening in your business before that brought you to Peaceful Profits. What did it look like, and what were you looking to change that brought you here in the first place?
So we were looking at ways to scale our business with the least amount of struggle, because we've spent a lot of our time. I'm 43, my brother's 4 years younger than me, and we've spent our time in the workforce, and we understand, what it takes, like 8 to 12 hours a day of grinding, to provide for your family. And so we didn't want to do that in our business. We wanted to figure out a way to scale our business and make it easy. And a lot of people in today's society want to say, and I get it, like we think if it's not hard, it's not worth anything. But I'm here to tell you that that is a lie that we tell ourselves for whatever reason, our ego or something. I think, I don't know. But the reality is, if there are ways to systematize, there are ways to scale without all that, daily grind, without trading that time for money. And what happened was we were talking to somebody else who I think was also a client or was coached through the Peaceful Profits program as well. And he was able to scale his business very well and peacefully, to use your term. And he mentioned you should check out writing a book. You should look into writing a book as far as the education piece and building that rapport with your clients, with your students, with even your investors. And so we wrote 2 ebooks initially, and those were for investors primarily. But when we started thinking about the coaching, having no background in the coaching, how do we establish rapport with people to make this worth our time? And I think writing a book builds a lot of credibility. People read a book and they can reread it and understand it in the timeline that they need. And that replaces thousands and thousands, if not millions, hopefully millions, we have that type of clientele, of phone calls that we're on. We're on Zoom calls all the time with investors, with potential clients, with whoever. So having a book that you can send people that is limitless value, because it's something that they own now, that they can refer to over and over and over, but also builds credibility for you and your business. I think that is invaluable.
Yeah.
So I really like that model. It resonated with what we were trying to do. And I think me and my brother jumped on the program within a week or 2 of reading through everything. So it was, we really liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's so cool. And I love this idea. First of all, that you were very clear on what you wanted. You wanted systems. You wanted a business that didn't require more of you. And so the book then became a means to that end. Like, the book is going to replace phone calls. It's going to take some of what's in your minds and transport it to your clients so that they then have some of the answers. You don't have to give everyone individually now. You can give out through a book. And I think that's genius, to the way that you put that, to figure out like, okay, this is a way to maximize my time. Now, you mentioned that coaching was not something you had really done before. So let's talk a little bit about your offer creation process and how you went from doing this yourself to then, okay, we're going to teach this to some other people.
Yeah. Well, it happened organically, but at the same time, it took a minute, because I think my brother and I we resonate with other people that are trying to get out of the rat race. So people would reach out to us all the time. Hey, I want to invest with you guys, or I want to do what you're doing. How do I get started? And so it was easy for us to tell people like how to invest, but then how do we, when people started asking, friends and family, and then extended friends, they started asking like, how are you doing this? I want to leave my job too. I want that freedom as well. We're taking these free calls, and it was 15 to 30 minutes, multiple times a day, and we're not getting paid for that. And I'm not trying to say that you should get paid. Like, I'm not a money hungry like person, but I understand the value. Like, you're asking me to take time away from my kids and my family to walk you through this process that took us 5 years to figure out. I need to make it worth something, right? And so that was it. And it was kind of a natural progression. Like, we should probably start charging for these calls or figure out a way to systematize that, right? And so the book was a great answer. The coaching was a great answer as well. But then the coaching for us was like, do we want to do one-on-one coaching and yes, you get paid for it, but that's, again, it's committing a lot of time. How can we scale this? So we're always looking for ways to scale. So the video course made a lot of sense. I mean, we looked at, everybody's doing video courses, but we looked at Peaceful Profits. Their model was very well. Your guys' model was, we're those kind of people, like, we copy and paste everything. So we looked at what was successful and we said, let's do that. Let's make a video course. Let's sell that video course. Let's provide coaching calls 1 to 2 a week for questions and answers. Let's also have a Facebook group, so people can post their questions in there and we can answer that, and then they can answer each other. And, so again, we're providing the space for people to learn and grow without having to be there 100% of the time.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so as you put this coaching into practice, what are some of the wins and transformations you've seen in your business since adding this new coaching model?
Yeah. So it really did shift our mindset on how we talk about our business. And so when we started talking about how we're helping people do this, we actually got more people investing in the projects we were doing, which was a weird byproduct
Yeah.
because maybe people, we've had about 100 million in assets under management at several times, which seems like a lot, and it absolutely is. Although there's people that have way more, but it was a lot for us, and it was a huge win. But now when we're telling people that we're teaching people how to do it, I think that brought a level of credibility to our business, and people wanted to invest alongside us. And so it helped the growth in that way as well. Um, Additionally, it just helped, it gave us a point of focus when we talk to people like, look, I will give you this 15 minutes, but there's a course where you're going to get my 5 years of experience plus all my special operations experience and leadership and all that. And you can just, that's yours. You could take that and you can learn from it. And, and the cool thing is, and I know we'll get to it, but like our book will be launching here shortly, and that has everything, almost everything we put into the business in it. And so it makes it even easier. But yeah, it was a natural progression, but it did take, a friend like, hey, this is what you should do if you really want it. Because, you give away a lot of stuff for free, and it costs you time and
Yeah.
money a lot of times. So
Yeah, that's so interesting. I remember when you were in coaching that that happening, that you have this coaching program and you were excited to get that going. And meanwhile, the other part of your business is just growing,
yeah.
growing, growing, the actual fund and investment side of it. And it's so cool to see. To me, it's just really speaks to how we project energetically, I guess, that we're saying, hey, we're
Yeah.
open for business. Hey, look at what we have. And it's just people resonate with that, and they
Yeah.
are attracted to that. Now, like you said, we definitely want to get into the book side of things. And let's talk first about the process of writing the book and what that part was like.
That was, that was tough. I'd written a book before, but it was an ebook and it was short. But this one was a little bit tougher in the beginning because I did what I tell people to never do. And I sat myself in a room and isolated myself from everybody else and all their, input. And I just did it. That's the typical man. I'm going to figure it out. And so I did that. And then I also, at the same time, every now and then when I got an inkling, I would go to the Peaceful Prophets and go through their, the coaching videos. And I was like, oh, there's a whole section on writing a book. And it was so detailed, and it was like, this is how you should lay out your book. And I'm like, I'm not going to cuss, but that's what I was thinking. Like, dang it. So I actually went,
Yeah.
I wrote the majority of the book, then somehow got caught up on the lessons and went through the lessons and was like, well, this is exactly how to do it chapter by chapter. And so I had to rewrite it or restructure it. And so that was a frustrating part, but it's just one of those times like it's that's the great thing about being an entrepreneur. There's a lot of aha moments. There's a lot of moments where your personal growth happens, even, you're supposed to be the expert, but a lot of times like that is part of your growing. And so I took that as one of those. It's just,
Yeah.
that was something, it was a blind spot that I had to get through. So look to the experts and follow their lead, and make it a lot easier instead of trying to do everything yourself. But yeah, that was my process.
Yeah, that's so interesting, right? You had it all right there in front of you, and it took that. But
Yep.
what a great learning process, in hindsight, to see like, oh, okay, it can be that much better, and you weren't starting from scratch. And then you mentioned that you are almost done with book edits, and it's all coming out into the world. So, what is your next? What's the next step for your book?
So the click funnels are almost done for the book. It's just a part of, at this point, we're putting it on Facebook ads. And so that's
Awesome.
what we're working through. Like this week, we're doing that this week. We're focused on that.
Okay,
So, yeah.
that's
And
so
the other
exciting.
thing I wanted to add too is if you are in the process of writing a book, yes, Peaceful Profits offers an outlet. It's free advertising, obviously, for you guys, but this is Like this was the frustration I had. They also offer the video calls, and those were really helpful.
Yeah.
Those were really helpful. So yeah, you get to talk to actual, book writers on how to do it. So
Yeah, rather than being, like you said, alone in a room with a computer, you're able to bring your actual writing and be like, hey, I'm stuck on this part. This
yeah,
isn't
I need
flowing. What
feedback.
do I do here? And get the feedback.
Yeah, they were
Um,
great.
Good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that was a good process for you after you figured out what was available and that
Yeah.
you had those resources to be able to use. Now, what were some of your aha moments, both in the book writing process, in this whole business building process? What are some of the things that you've learned?
So I'm a big follower of Jordan Peterson, and I've always liked how articulate he is. And it took me a minute in writing. I have my own podcast as well, and we write a lot of our own content as well. And then writing the book, there were multiple aha moments. But one of the things I came to realize was the reason people like Jordan Peterson can articulate their thoughts so well on live TV or a live interview is because they have written for years.
Mm,
And in your writing and creating content, you're organizing your thoughts. And it makes you not just a good writer, but it makes you a good orator and a good teacher, because now you have a flow of thoughts that you can convey with clarity to other people. And I think that was a huge piece. So if you're looking to be a coach, I think organizing your thoughts in a systematic form of a book, maybe, or a lesson plan or something, will make you that much better coach, as well as that much better at just conveying ideas, for your business.
yeah.
So consider it.
Yeah, I love that insight. I think
Um,
that's so true. That's so good.
yeah.
The more that the more that you write, and to your point, it can be in a course or a book or very outlined, but even just journaling is
Mhm.
a process that helps you with that because you see your thoughts. You see where you're being
Yes.
redundant or silly or
Yeah.
caught up in the weeds, and recognizing your thoughts does help you to speak better, to teach better, to do all those things. So I love that. What other aha moments have you had?
Um, man, I think that the click funnels, I loved I thought this was interesting, and now every time I'm in the checkout line, I think about this. One of the questions they ask in your sales process is, does it meet the junk food test?
Yeah.
And I had to think about that, and I can't remember where we found the information on what that was. I'm sure it was in the course somewhere, but the junk food test, if you're not aware, is like, what's available as you check out, right? What's right there in front of you, and does it entice you enough to buy it, right? And so that's essentially it. That's what ClickFunnels is, and it's just your upselling. It's right there as you're checking out. You have multiple things that you offer the client, and it continues to upsell and build them into a new program or sell them more things and stuff. And now every time I'm in the checkout counter, I see that stuff and I laugh, and I'm like, it's genius. It is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think about it differently. Like that Snickers bar is just so easy to grab,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't
Yeah.
take a lot of thought, and that's how we want it with the order bump. That easy to just that quick of a
Yes.
decision. It might
Yeah.
not be a good decision, but it's a quick decision that we don't have to spend time thinking about.
Yeah.
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 Okay, well, you have done so much with your business and it's been so exciting to see the growth. What advice would you give to others who are looking to grow and scale? And specifically, one of the things that I think you and Chris have done so well is this focus on not trading your time for dollars, right? You have focused on building a lifestyle business. So, what advice would you give others who want to do something similar?
Yeah. So in building our junk food items, our items that we do for the order bump, one of the things we sell in there is a mini course on this millionaire mindset.
Mm.
And this kind of goes into what I was talking about before. In organizing my thoughts, I came up with this idea of this millionaire mindset. Could just as easily be called the CEO mindset or whatever. But really, what it is learning how to think like a leader, right? The leader doesn't go out there. And I was in the military, and for some reason, it didn't click until I started my own business as much. But you want to be, if you want to be successful as a business owner, or even as a coach or whatever, like it doesn't matter. You want to be the person with the vision, and then you want to find the brightest and best people to go do the rest. And that could be a coach, that could be another coach, that could be for us, it's property managers, it's contractors, it's CPAs, it's accountants. Like we don't try to figure that out. We want to go hire those people. And so that's what I would advise any business owner, any entrepreneur starting out. I think a lot of us in America, we are pull ourselves up by our bootstraps kind of people, just being Americans. But on the same token, think of the successful Americans out there that are really crushing it, like Elon Musk, like, Steve Jobs or whatever. Like these people, they would hire the best, and they would leverage their experience. And then, so long as they're meeting a certain quota, they're going to leave it. They're not trying to do everything and be perfect. They're taking action first. They're hiring and partnering with or whatever the best and brightest to be able to build it. And that's what it is when you hire a coach. That's what it is when you hire an accountant. That's what it like. You don't have to do it alone. And that is, in building that, it helped me building the Millionaire Mindset mini course. That helped me organize my thoughts around that. And then of course, apply it better, even in my own writing and the coaching and stuff. So that's what I would recommend. Yeah.
Okay. It's so good. That's such good advice. Where can people find you and learn more, possibly invest with you or get coached by you? Where is the best place that people can go for more?
Well, we're all over LinkedIn, Facebook. I mean, TikTok, we're even, Instagram, all the social media platforms. But you can go directly to our website. And our website is www.valkyriegroup.com. But Valkyrie is actually an anagram of our last name, and it's spelled VALKERE group.com. And we have everything there. We have all our coaching program. We have our investment properties, our fund, all that stuff, and as well as like a ton of different information about us and our business and stuff we do. So that's probably the best one. But if you're on LinkedIn, hit me up there too personally. It's easy.
Okay, perfect. Well, you guys definitely go check these two out. They're doing amazing things in their business. Thank you so much for being with us today, Ashton, and for all the things that you've shared.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for listening to the Peaceful Profits podcast, and we will see you next time. Bye.